Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. My name is Howard Greenberg. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Can I see the face?
Okay, so I'm going to see what I can do about letting you see my face.
Okay.
So let me just see what, just do some magic here. Why won't it let me turn the camera on?
Yes.
I'm trying. Because I see you perfectly.
Thank you.
My partner is also on. Naman?
Hello, hi, how are you?
Can you turn your camera on?
I'm not in a position to do so at this time.
Okay. Okay, that sounds mysterious, but I'm very sorry. I'm trying to get the camera on, but it won't go. So, oh, wait a moment. No, that still didn't do it. What am I saying? Yes, it did. There I am.
It's nice to meet you. Your
Very
name
nice
is.
to meet you.
How can I call you?
You call me Howard.
Howard.
Howard. And how shall I call you?
VAN Vân. Van.
Ben.
Van.
Ben.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. So, if you look at our website and our LinkedIn, when you have a chance, you'll see that we are lawyers from Canada.
Yes.
And we have a very extensive practice in Canadian immigration law.
Yes.
And we started a firm 3 years ago after having been the leaders of the immigration practice for KPMG. So we ran the practice worldwide, 150 offices.
Okay.
And we also ran the Canadian office as well for them as well, which is 130 people. So we have 30 years of experience in immigration law.
Canada immigration.
Yeah, yes, quite extensive.
Okay.
And one of the specialties that we do, our specialty, is the startup visa program.
Startup visa.
So we have filed easily over 100 applications, and we also do a lot of court litigation for cases where the decisions are not proper by the officials. So we have an awful lot of experience in that area. In addition, we do work permits, PR, temporary residence status, visas, and everything else that comes up, which the clients tell us about.
Okay.
So we're quite we have been interested in other markets. We know Vietnam is a good market, a lucrative market, we call it,
Yes.
meaning that it probably poses different challenges than the Iranian market we know, or the Indian market we know, or the Chinese market we know. But the Vietnamese market's a different, a more sophisticated market than those other markets. And so when Srikanth called me last week, I was in South Africa, and he wanted to tell me about you. I don't know, how do you know Srikanth? Do you do work for his clients, or you just an introduction?
No, I just met him one time. He found me on LinkedIn, and when he came to Vietnam, he wanted to meet me in our office, and he introduced about his products, and I introduced about an HR manager for she used to work at VinFast. So yeah, I just connect him with the person he wants. Then he introduced about you. So he said that you are working on immigration.
Yes.
Yes.
We do a lot of work out of India for IT companies, programmers and IT professionals. So we know we ask for those Indian software companies, the large ones.
Yes.
So we have a lot of experience in the area. It's a pleasure to meet you. I looked at your website. You have a high success rate. You seem to have a prominent, people trust you, and you have good relationships. That's my understanding from reading your website. I think you work at it very hard to develop a reputation. And we're very interested in individuals in Vietnam who are interested in setting up innovative businesses in Canada, because the startup visa program is probably the only category that's still open for individuals who want to do business.
Yes.
And that's why we wanted to connect with you. So we were thinking of a trip out to Southeast Asia, because we have clients in many jurisdictions, and so it's a coincidence that your name came up, and so we thought, well, why not talk to you a bit about, sometimes your clients want to actually see the people they got to trust,
Yes.
and meet them, and have a comfort level that their money's not going in the thin air. So we thought, well, why not get to know you a bit, understand your business, you understand our business, you can see us, you can see more about us on the internet. We're leaders in Canada in immigration, well known. And then we thought to get some indication from you as to what the interest is of your clients now in Canada to do business.
Yes. There are many Vietnamese. They want to go to Canada. They want to work and get PR. Unfortunately, almost of them don't know English. And so we only focus on clients who have English certificates and money. And we support them to immigrate to Canada. Now we focus on skilled worker, direct PR, like RCIP, AIP, and PNP. So I think that if you have experience, 30 years experience in Canada immigration, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can share your service, and we will introduce to our client. So we have more choice for our clients. It's better
Okay.
for both of us.
Yes. The English is very important.
Yes.
There must be a minimum level of 5 on
Yes.
the IELTS test.
Yes.
But if they can get the 5, they need, for the startup visa program, they need certificates issued, and we have a very close relationship with at least 3 designated entities who have certificates available.
Mm-hmm.
Each entity only has 10 certificates a year. And
Yes.
fortunately, it's the beginning of the year now, not the end. And so, although they have, issued some of them already,
Yeah.
they still have left. So there's probably a window of opportunity in the next 30 to 90 days to present a business idea with some founders or startup applicants, up to 5 for each certificate, and there's a possibility they can now qualify, and it's provided that they've done the IELTS test, and they scored at least 5. That's a regulatory requirement to go into processing. So if we were to discuss all of the aspects of the Canadian immigration program to you, we would end up with startup visa
Yeah.
because it's open. We would tell you that we have certificates available, and that if you have clients who have who together want to do business in Canada,
Yes.
we can assist you in putting that together.
Okay. So yes.
Then let me say it's time sensitive. Once the 10 certificates are gone, they're gone, and we are expecting new changes to the program to make it tighter. And so the designated entities who are issuing the certificates are anxious that they don't want to lose the opportunity. So they're trying to find as many buyers as they can. And that's why 30, 60, 90 days, after 90 days, we think the certificates will be gone. Or the law will change. So there is a window of opportunity for us to introduce your customers or clients to these designated entities and see if they could work together for a certificate. There is a window of opportunity.
So startup visa, there's no need of experience, right?
There's no, let's be very careful how I explain this. Regulatory requirement for experience. But what the officer, the immigration officer, must decide is one simple question. Is the person coming to Canada to start the business, or are they coming to Canada just to get the visa? Now, the more the person has no experience or qualification, the more likely the officer will find they're just trying to get PR status. The more that they have some business experience and in their home country, and they have a good idea, the better the prospects for getting the PR. So although experience is not a requirement, it's very much a part of the officer's decision-making.
Because
And we don't want to take the money from your customers and let them sit in a queue for 2 or 3 years, only to find out that they're not going to be accepted because they have no qualification. So that's why we're careful up front to make sure at least we have a presentable case.
okay. Because the last time there also are you RCIC?
I'm sorry, say again?
No, we're lawyers. We're licensed.
No, we're licensed lawyers of the bar. In fact, you'd be interested to know that many of our clients are consultants who have gotten in over their heads too deep, and they come to us to fix the file so they don't have to pay the money back.
Okay. Because the last time I asked one RCIC that about the requirement of startup visa candidate, he said that a student who has that graduate in Canada college still apply for startup visa. Is it true?
There's nothing that prevents a student from making the application. But if you think about the proposal and you're an immigration officer and you see that the applicant is a student, you would be highly suspicious that there really isn't a business. So we would tell you that we think that has probably a low probability of success and is not your ideal client.
Okay. So
Your ideal client would be a business person, man or woman, who has operated a business in Vietnam
yes.
or another country, who has a very innovative idea, maybe involved in technology or some processes, or wants to expand their business into Canada to take advantage of the North American market, and has enough wealth to pay for the certificate from the designated entity.
Yeah.
Your fees, our fees, and have sufficient monies to support themselves in Canada and start up the business.
Okay. Okay. There is one IT manager who he won, and in fact that he applied for rural renewal stream last year. He 50 CLB file already, WES already, but for rural renewal stream is because he calculates his score. He think that he not get a chance to get endorsement and nomination and better. Then he stopped working on that program. He's he looking for SUV and RCIP program. So what is better for him?
Well, to be clear, in order for me to give you good advice, I should see a resume
Okay.
and learn more about it.
Okay, I have it.
For example, how old is he?
50.
50, 50.
Yes, 50.
And is he a business person?
He, in fact, that he's an IT guy, IT manager.
So he doesn't own his own business.
Yes, he's a manager.
Of his own business or someone else in someone else's business?
For a famous company in Vietnam. I remember it's FPT.
I see. So when he comes to Canada, he comes to Canada to start up his own business, or to try to find a job and work for someone?
He wants to get PR for his family. That's all.
Okay. So remember when I started the conversation, I said the officer is trying to figure out, does he want to set up the business, or does he want to just get the PR for his family, right?
Yes.
So what you described to me does not sound like a good case. We wouldn't be comfortable taking his money because we see his age and that he seems to be working rather than owning a business, and he wouldn't meet the profile of the type of applicants that are now being selected. Now, I tell you that based on your the facts you gave me. It might be that he has a great idea for Canada. He has a lot of money to implement it. In other words, he might be able to become a good case, but I don't know enough facts to tell you that. And has he? Do you think he has a net worth of at least 400,000 Canadian dollars?
400.
Canadian dollars, 400,000 Canadian dollars.
Let me check how much is in Vietnam đồng. Okay. How much? One minute.
Okay.
He not willing to spend 400 Việt because
the problem is,
yes, he purposely to focus on PR because if
Yeah.
too high, he would focus on skilled worker program.
yeah, he will not qualify.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So it's important not to encourage him and take his money because he's going to feel that he was, that he didn't get proper advice. That's when we see an applicant like that, we discourage them because there's no pathway for them to come to Canada, and he shouldn't pay his money for nothing.
So starter visa candidate have to pay 400.
No, I tell you that because the certificate, the designated entity that issues the certificate, they each charge a different amount, but they all charge a lot because they only have 10. So once they issue 10, they have to wait to the next year. So it used to be that they were worth $30,000, $40,000 a certificate, and now they say we're starting at $150 because we only have 10, right? So I tell you that a person who doesn't have $400,000 and a good idea is not going to have enough money to make it through the system.
So you mean $400 is the total assets or the money he have to pay for the company in
No.
Canada?
No, that's not. It's not necessarily the amount he has to pay. He's got to have at least that in order to pay all the expenses and get the business going. Not to give it all away to somebody. There are certain designated entities that charge that much, but we would never send him to those because all his money would be gone. He wouldn't have any more money.
So we a good candidate who is willing to pay at least around 400,000 for this business.
Yes, that's a suggested amount, depending on the individual and the business. If you gave me a 24-year-old engineer with a good idea, started up maybe a business in Vietnam and wants to bring it to Canada, I don't think we'll need, it's single. I don't think I'm going to need $400,000. So it all depends on family. It depends on experience. It's something we have to add on.
Because there are many Vietnamese immigration company in Vietnam. They are running advertisement. There's around 100 to 200,000 Canada for SUV. So how can you complete with them?
Well, very few designated entities will issue a certificate for under $100,000. The ones that we deal with, Noman, do you recall what the last amount was with Stewart? Charged for
150.
150. So, and how about, and I guess Vic is still at 40?
Yeah, but for much more mature companies than I think we'll probably see in this scenario.
Yeah. So let me explain to you that many of these consultants, some of them, I shouldn't say all of them, are taking the money and they shouldn't. And it would be rare that somebody will sell a certificate for under $50,000, rare, because they only have 10. So the maximum they can make on a certificate is $500,000, 50 times 10. And they used to make a lot more, so they increased the amount of the certificate. And if the person gives all their money, 150, to the designated entity, they won't have enough money to meet the settlement funds requirement and the monies to invest in the business, the immigration officer wants to see two different pools of money. The money to survive while it gets the business going, and the money to put inside the business to get it going. And so these cases, these types of applications have become much more difficult in the last 12 months. And the refusal rates are extremely high because the representatives have been filing anyone who would give them the money. And because there's a delay in processing the application, we are only seeing the applications being decided now that we filed in 2022. So you can see that there's a lag time. You don't get an immediate decision, and so a lot of the representatives think, just put them all in. I'll worry about it in 2 or 3 years. And then I tell them, sorry, bad news, and they go away. So we know that because we're being hired by a lot of consultants to say, save my client. And that's what we try to do. But if the facts aren't right, we can't change history. I can't make business experience where there's no business experience. So some cases we win, and some cases we don't take.
Okay.
Because they just end up paying more money. It's just terrible.
So there is one mother who have a son. Her son get PR in Canada.
Yeah.
And she wants to open a business in Canada and get profit. Do you have any program for her?
But if he's a PR,
Yes.
he can sponsor her.
Yes, she got visitor visa already.
Okay, so she doesn't need a program other than a family class sponsorship.
Super visa, you mean?
Well, no, the super visa gets her to Canada for more than 1 year.
Yes.
But the immigration comes from the sponsorship by the child in Canada who's a PR.
You mean that she also have a chance to get PR?
Yes, from the child. The child in Canada lives in Canada with the PR.
Yes.
Or he or she can sponsor the mother.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
You can do
So
that?
you don't want to. Yes, you don't want to pay money for SUV or anything because you don't need to. There's an easier way.
The only issue is lottery, right?
Well, there's a quota each year. So he does the sponsoring, and if they make the quota, they go in. And if they don't make the quota, they have to wait till the next year.
So she gets.
But there's a pathway subject to a quota.
So she should apply for super visa, stay there, and wait for lottery, something like that, right?
Yeah, that's what they would do. And she keeps her fingers crossed and hope.
Okay. Okay.
When you get your customers, do you advertise in newspaper or media or online? How do you get your customers?
Yeah, we are planning to do that. But now our own client come to us organically.
Sorry, how do they come to you? How do they know about you?
They know about us on social media, website,
I see.
KOLs, and old clients.
Okay, because we think that if you create very specialized advertising, seeking clients who are business people who want to start up a business in Canada. We start with the right people to interview, and they have the better chance of getting the certificate and coming. But if you just look at the market and you get 100 people coming to you and they're not screened out, you tell 100 people they don't qualify. It's not a good business model. So you really want to aim your media and your advertising to business people who want to expand their business into Canada and have an innovative business. Those are your targets, because those are the applicants you can get success with, not just anybody.
Okay, I understand. So what is your advantage, your unique selling point compared to another firms?
We're highly credible, our reputation is excellent, and we know what we're doing. And if you will understand that more, if you take a look at our LinkedIn and our website. We do a lot of videos and presentations on behalf of designated entities who invite us to speak with them to their customers, and we record them and we put them up on our website. So we're known to be highly experienced and very ethical. And others may not be as much. Who are interested in the SUV program.
Okay.
And the best way you could present them would be with a resume,
Yes.
and if you did a little video. Hi, my name is Yun. I own this company with 10 employees. We have an innovative packaging system that I want to bring to Canada. There's 4 of us that want to come. In other words, let's see who he is. Let's see how he presents himself. And a resume. We will take the resume and the video. We will present it to some designated entities and see which ones are interested in taking him on to issue a certificate, mentoring. So we're going to shop around for him to see if we can find the right fit. If we find the right fit, they'll tell us what the fee is.
Okay.
We'll tell you what the fee is, and then we end up with a retainer agreement. We sign directly with the applicant, and we prepare their application, and we assist them with their business plan if they need one. If they can't do it themselves, then we'll help them do the business plan. It would take maybe 2 to 4 weeks to put the business plan together with the application, and then in the meantime, the designated entity is working on issuing the certificate. They issue the certificate when they're paid. The certificate goes to IRCC. After the certificate goes to IRCC, we can then file the application together with evidence of the language test. If the evidence of the language test is not filed with the application will be returned. They will not accept the application. There's a mistake that's been made by a number of applicants who have filed the application, but they couldn't score 5 on the IELTS test. So they try to file the application and do the IELTS test over and over again. The officer sends it back and says, no, it's not complete. We're not even starting your application. Here's your money back. So we screen the application with you. We present the application to designated entity. If they like it, they turn around and issue a certificate. We prepare the application together with the certificate, and we file it with the IRCC online, and then we wait. Now, if the applicant wants to come sooner, then the applicant is entitled to apply for a work permit to work in Canada. If he applies for a work permit, that is a separate fee.
Separate fee.
Not everyone applies for a work permit, but depending on the country, if they want to get out fast, they want the work permit.
Okay.
Other countries, they lay back and wait. So it's an individual decision. But the work permit's not automatic. We have to make the case for why it's important for the applicant to come to Canada quickly and start the business, not wait till they become PR. If they issue the work permit, they'll issue a work permit for the spouse, and the children can go to school.
So minimum money, how much is the minimum budget should the candidate prepare for this program for his whole family?
The candidate should, depending on the business and how much money they're going to need to set up the business, I estimate $400,000 Canadian. I estimate.
For one family?
For one family.
It's quite high, right?
Well, it's not for everybody,
Mm.
but it's highly unlikely today that somebody who only had $100,000 or $150,000 would be able to succeed. By the time he paid money for the certificate and he paid legal fees, he wouldn't have enough money to establish a business or support himself. And so the officer would see that right away.
So we have to looking for the candidate who can pay at least 300,000. She'll be fine.
Not pay, he'll have 300,000.
Okay.
He'll pay some of it, but some of it he'll need
Oh,
to get to live in Canada.
okay. So how much in cash should he prepare?
300,000 to 400,000.
Mm.
That's why we like business people, because they have more assets
Mm.
than someone who just is a worker.
Mm. So if the candidate is from immigration company, it's still okay, right?
If the candidate is from, repeat again, say again.
Canada immigration company.
Canada Immigration Company.
Yes, in Vietnam.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
I mean that there are some candidates who work in this field. They are my partner. They also want to immigrate to Canada.
I see. I see. You're looking for some advice.
So what do you think?
Well, I would have to see the resume for the partner
Okay.
to see if there's anything in the background that would support business experience. I'd have to see more.
Mm-hmm.
We usually like to see somebody from a background of technology or manufacturing,
Mm.
because the officer would accept that more. An immigration consultant who wanted to relocate, an officer would not think that there's a good business proposal around that.
Oh.
No matter how much I made a good business plan, it wouldn't take more than 10 minutes for the officer to say, I don't understand. This is a great business plan, but this person doesn't match the plan very well.
Mm.
So I'm not saying no, but it's not like, it doesn't look like the type of case that we normally succeed with.
Mm. In fact, that I am familiar with the skilled worker. As you be, I still feel that if the client get, she'll be fine. He has experience, and they can apply for skilled worker like AIP with lower price.
Well, the skilled worker program is dependent upon express entry, which depends upon points, and very few applicants outside of Canada qualify for express entry.
Mm.
Because the cutoff point for invitation is much higher than the point total that applicant can get.
No, it's not
So-
extra entry. It's not extra entry. It's AIP. It's not cut off. No, that there is no score point on something like extra entry.
Oh, you're talking about the Atlantic immigration program.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, there are possibilities there
Mm-hmm.
because it's based on a job offer in
Mhm.
Atlantic Canada, Nova Scotia. The only problem there is that the number of positions in the Atlantic Immigration Program has been cut in half, the allocation. And so the subscription rate is very high. So it's kind of like a lottery.
Yes, but because compared to SUV, there's limited 10 candidates only, right? And the price higher. So I think that it
Well, it depends on a job offer that gets approved locally. And so they look very carefully at the job offer. Saman, do you want to talk about this at all, or did that group that you were looking at through the AIP, Saman?
Yeah, that was a corporate client, but they actually had, job offers. They had like 30 or 40 job offers they had to fill every year. So it worked for them. But in this situation, how would they get the job offer is the first question.
Well, more importantly, aren't those approvals more difficult to get now than they were a year ago?
Well, they've changed the eligible knock codes. So the one that we were using, which was in a call center, has been eliminated. So you'd have to first look at all the eligible knocks. Then you have to make sure that AIP still has spots for the year, because as I understood, I thought it had almost already closed or was very close to being closed. And then you would need a job offer from an employer in the province in that knock code. And the person would have to have had the skill and the experience in that particular occupation to get the work permit issued.
So AIP has some challenges to it. It's not impossible, but AIP, you learn up front if you qualify very quickly. By, whereas startup visa, you learn in the back after a couple of years when the officer gets to it. That's when you learn whether or not, it's going to succeed. Two different pathways.
yes, I understand. Because compared to skilled worker, startup visa is longer and much more expensive. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's attractive to certain people because age doesn't matter. And as you said, experience is not a requirement. So there's a certain profile of person who startup visa makes sense. And then there's other people who the startup visa could not succeed.
Okay. So, what should I promote about your service?
So what you're looking for are individuals who have some money, who have business experience, and have a good idea for Canada. Three things. Well, four, because they should speak English.
Okay.
Or
One.
French to be able to get past. So they meet the language requirement.
Okay.
They have business experience, preferably. They have enough money to settle their family and get the business going.
Okay.
And if you can meet those requirements, we're interested in looking at it to help. But without those requirements, they're probably not going to succeed.
Okay. So
And we don't
English,
want to take their money for nothing.
English will be fine. Experience like manager or director, owner of a company.
Well, preferably it's their own company, and they want to expand it to Canada. But we would still look at person who had a specialized position in the company, maybe there might be enough experience and knowledge to support the application. Maybe.
Okay.
That's where our skill comes in. We take a close look to see if it's reasonable.
And money?
Always the same, 300,000-400,000. Somebody with 150,000 will not be able to buy the certificate, pay the fees, and have enough money to set up the business in Canada and settle. They won't.
So, what is your strength to promote in Vietnam?
Say again?
Yes, I want to know about your strength to promote to our client in Vietnam because there are many competitors in Vietnam now.
We're reputable and very good at it.
Reputation.
Our reputation is excellent, and our knowledge is excellent, and we're very well recognized in the legal community. And most of those consultants, no one's ever heard of them. They're not respected by government. They're not respected by the applicants, and they have a bad reputation.
There any proof to show to prove your reputation?
I'm sorry, say that to me again?
Yes, so because everybody tell us that they are very good, they are very well known. So how to prove this for the client?
You open up the LinkedIn and you look at the person's experience. And if they held we held major positions in one of the 4 major accountancy firms in the world. We have major positions in the Canadian Bar Association. We're very well known and reputable.
Can I share that information?
Sure, it's public.
Okay.
It's in my LinkedIn.
Okay, let me check.
It's in Nomad's LinkedIn. You take a look at the LinkedIn.
Okay.
And do a little research about us.
Okay.
And then research any consultant and look what they have on the LinkedIn, which would be nothing.
Okay. I think I first do with that step. So I think that first we will focus on promote this program. We will check the information if it's good to run advertisements or not. Then I think that can you work with us to open webinar or one per week or something like that?
Yes. But we want you to focus on the right individuals who have good prospects. We don't want to develop a reputation. Some of our colleagues handle high volume from Iran, for example, and they all fail. They take the money and they fail. We're not interested in that. We only want good applicants. So the screening is very important.
Okay, first step, we will collect resume from the client.
Yes.
And send to you.
And let us take a look and guide you on what to look for.
Okay.
You need a large number of people presenting their resume to you, and out of the large number, there's going to be a handful that will be okay, and the rest will not be okay.
Yeah, so one problem now, I think that the number of money, I think that they only willing to pay around 100 to 200, and you are asking for 300 to 400. That's a problem.
Well, I'm not asking for it. They will not have enough money to present in the application to succeed. It's not my money, but they're going to need a certain amount of money to succeed. We don't, the fees that you pay us are not expensive. They're going to need money to pay for the certificate. That's not to me. And they're going to need money to pay for the family while they're in Canada. And they're going to need money to start up the business, to incorporate, and to maybe get a business premises. So, and to possibly buy a business report, someone who could present a business, proposal, and that they have to pay. That's not me again. I don't make them. So that's why I'm saying somebody who's got $7,500, $150,000. 2 years ago, that might have been enough. Now, not enough.
Okay.
Inflation.
Okay, I understand. I think that we need to focus on finding the right candidates first.
Yeah. You want a high-end clientele. You don't want a low-end clientele. You just have people who want their money back who are angry.
Okay.
You want a high-end clientele. You want to be able to find the best of the best in Vietnam who want to come. Very reputable people. That's what your aim is.
Okay, got it. I think that today is okay for now. Yeah.
We'll wait to hear from you. Go do some research, think about it, take a closer look, and then call us.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, done. Ok, Văn vừa trao đổi với lại hai luật sư. Hai luật sư này thì chuyên về visa khởi nghiệp là Startup Visa. Các anh này thì đã có 30 năm kinh nghiệm làm về định cư Canada. Và trong buổi ngày hôm nay thì anh có chia sẻ rằng là anh đã làm việc với lại các khách hàng Trung Quốc, Ấn Độ. Tuy nhiên thì Việt Nam thì không có nhiều. Các anh ấy trao đổi về các cái điều kiện để có thể tham gia vào Startup Visa, đó là đầu tiên đó là tiếng Anh và tiếng Pháp phải đạt được cái mức là IELTS CP5. Thứ hai là kinh nghiệm. Mặc dù là chương trình Startup Visa là không yêu cầu kinh nghiệm, nhưng mà thực ra là Vân thấy có nhiều ý kiến trái chiều. Bữa trước Vân gặp một RCIC thì chị ấy nói rằng là chị ấy không yêu cầu kinh nghiệm, chỉ cần có cái dự án ấy ok, và khởi nghiệp tại Canada là đã ok rồi. Nhưng hôm nay trao đổi với lại hai luật sư này thì hai anh này là yêu cầu cái điều kiện đầu vào của ứng viên khá là khắt khe. Đó là các ứng viên thì có kinh nghiệm làm ở trong ngành công nghệ hoặc là trong ngành manufacturing, là ngành sản xuất. Và tốt nhất là những người này là có mong muốn là khởi nghiệp tại Canada, có kinh nghiệm làm owner business, tức là business owner, tức là chủ doanh nghiệp hoặc là quản lý cấp cao thì mới đủ điều kiện. Về ngân sách thì cái mức mà để đầu tư và khởi nghiệp tại Canada nó phải khoảng là 300 đến 400 ngàn đô ca. Đó, đấy là 4 cái điều kiện cơ bản để cho ứng viên có thể được nộp hồ sơ theo diện là Startup Visa, visa khởi nghiệp, để được nộp hồ sơ xin định cư Canada từ Việt Nam cho cả gia đình. Thì phí đối với lại luật sư, cho phần luật sư thì không có nhiều, chỉ chủ yếu là phần phí dành cho các cái chương trình để mình có thể khởi nghiệp tại Canada, phần dự án này tại Canada. Thì về cơ bản thì hôm nay là mới buổi gặp mặt trao đổi thì Vân nhận được thông tin của hai luật sư này do một anh bữa trước là Vân gặp tại văn phòng, anh có đến văn phòng, anh giới thiệu một cái app của anh ấy, là app về gọi là nộp hồ sơ. Tức là mình không cần phải người ứng viên, không cần phải nhân viên thì kiểm tra hồ sơ, mà mình chỉ cần nộp hồ sơ theo đúng cái checklist đó thì cái hệ thống, cái app của anh ấy là có thể nộp hồ sơ cho mình, tức là tránh toàn bộ cái phần sai sót và phần cái yếu tố khách quan do con người, những cái lỗi do con người gây ra. Thì anh có giới thiệu cho Vân hai luật sư này, thì hôm nay là sau email trao đổi vài lần thì hôm nay là cái buổi gặp mặt trực tiếp gọi là gặp trực tiếp nhưng mà cũng là qua màn hình. Thì Vân cũng gặp được hai anh này, thì về cơ bản cảm nhận chung thì Vân cũng thấy là các anh ấy có kinh nghiệm ở trong ngành, nhưng các anh này là tập trung vào các loại visa này là visa về khởi nghiệp, và cái số suất không nhiều, anh tập trung vào chất lượng của ứng viên để đảm bảo là ứng viên được thành công, cho nên là cái yêu cầu cao hơn hẳn so với lại những cái quảng cáo mà chúng ta thường thấy ở trên thị trường, với cái mức chỉ tầm 3 đến 4 tỷ chọn gói trong một bộ hồ sơ, và cái điều kiện thì nó không có nhiều. Nhưng với hai luật sư này thì hồ sơ là yêu cầu rất là khắt khe, từ kinh nghiệm bằng cấp tiếng Anh đến cả phần tiền nữa để run cái business này tại Canada. Thì đó là phần tóm tắt lại toàn bộ cái quy trình Vân vừa trao đổi trực tiếp với hai anh ấy ở tại Canada. Thì tiếp theo thì Vân sẽ nghiên cứu kỹ hơn về profile của anh này, và anh ấy cũng đồng ý là sử dụng các cái nguồn dữ liệu của anh ấy để có thể share với lại mọi người. Ok, vậy thì Vân kết thúc cái phần livestream ở đây. Thì chiều nay nếu như mà hôm nay là thứ ba, thứ tư, thứ năm thì Vân sẽ chiều nay Vân có lịch hẹn gặp khách hàng. Nếu những cái phần nào mà không có riêng tư thì Vân có thể share được, còn phần nào mà riêng tư thì Vân sẽ để tiếng, Vân sẽ tắt tiếng đi ha, để cho các anh chị có thể có những cái hình dung cơ bản. Nếu như mình có cái cây tương tự như vậy thì mình cũng có thể rút được kinh nghiệm ha. Còn lịch livestream tiếp theo là sẽ vào thứ năm. Hẹn gặp mọi người ở video sau nhé. Các anh chị nào mà có câu hỏi thì cứ đặt câu hỏi phần comment thì Vân sẽ đọc và Vân có thể trả lời luôn nha. Ok, bye bye. Bây giờ Vân đọc comment. Comment có 2 comment. Gì đây? Comment này là tiếng Hàn Quốc. Tiếng Hàn Quốc Vân đọc mãi chưa ra đây. Cái gì đây? Cái gì đây? Hàn. Lâu quá không đọc được cái tiếng Hàn Quốc này này. Okay. So please type it in English so then I can reply your question. Ngân chào cô chào Ngân nha. Ngân có hỏi gì thì cứ hỏi, thì bây giờ cô đọc thì cô mới có thể trả lời được. Con ghi mỗi chào cô thôi là cô không biết là con hỏi gì để chào luôn. Ok, có 2 câu hỏi. Một câu hỏi thì bằng tiếng Hàn Quốc. Câu hỏi đấy khó quá, Vân không trả lời được, Vân không đọc được để mà trả lời. Còn câu hỏi thứ 2 thì bé chỉ chào thôi. Mọi người có câu hỏi khác thì cứ để lại phần comment nha. Bye, hẹn mọi người ở video sau.